Hello! Welcome to Melissa's Musing on a Sunday. So today we're talking about the difference and really the beauty in variety of personality types. And there's a few different types of personalities, and they're categorized in a variety of different ways depending on who you're talking to or who's conducting the study, basically. But some of the personality types that I'm going to be talking about today are controller, promoter, supporter, and analyzer. So 4 different personality types, and I'm going to be focusing on and telling you guys a little bit of a story around the analyzer and controller personalities. So I am a really hardcore controller and promoter. That's like me. I'm always like first at the party, and I'm like, yeah. Sorry, I got a missed call. I'm always promoting everything, and I'm always super stoked and excited. So I'm definitely a promoter, and I'm also a controller. I like to control those parties. I like to plan them and have a piece of them and be really excited about them. So that's me in a nutshell. And John is the opposite. John is an analyzer. He likes to look at numbers and feel calculated, and he processes things much different than I do. The same way that, both of us process things much different than a supporter or, a different personality type. So like John, being an analyzer, he thinks much differently than somebody like a supporter or somebody like a controller or promoter like me. And I clearly am thinking much differently than an analyzer. So that being said, because we all have these different personality types, hi Helen, thanks for watching. Because we all have these different personality types, it's really important to understand that sometimes when somebody else has a different personality type than us, they may want to communicate differently or process things differently, or in general, they may work different, and we get to have a better understanding of their communication style and the way that they process things in order to effectively communicate with them, right? So I'm going to tell you guys a funny little story that John and I experienced recently. So I'm gonna paint a little picture. So we are moving into our house, and things are crazy, and we are unpacking all of our stuff, and there's furniture everywhere, and it's like chaos. Okay, I'm setting the stage. Hey Andrew. Oh, hey, the whole Camilares family is watching. Hey guys, thanks for watching. So I get this bright idea. I'm like, okay, I'm about to mount the headboard to the wall. Like, I'm just ready to do it. So I'm like, John, can you get in here to the bedroom? I'm ready to mount the headboard. So he comes in, and I'm holding the headboard against the wall, right? And I'm like, John, come on, I need your help. I need your assistance. Get over here and help me hold this headboard against the wall. So he's holding the headboard against the wall, and I'm like, oh, can you reach over to the toolbox and grab some screws? And he looks over at me and he's like, you literally put the headboard like against the wall, and you don't even know if we have the right screws yet? And I was like, we probably have the screws. Just look. I'm sure we have the screws. So he's like, okay. And he's like, this chick is so ridiculous. Because here is me, right? I'm a promoter controller. I'm like, let's just try it and we'll work it out. Where he's an analyzer, and he's like, he wants to make sure all of his T's are crossed and all of his I's are dotted before he even starts, right? We have 2 totally different personalities. And this is a prime example of the difference between the two, and really how we learn to balance and communicate with each other. So, holding back to our bedroom setting, right? So I'm holding the headboard against the wall. John is like now searching for screws, and he's like huffing and puffing because he's like, this chick is crazy. And he comes back with 2 screws, right? And he goes to put them in the holes in the headboard, and he's like, oh, they don't fit. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm sure we have washers that can go, behind the screw to keep them from going straight through the hole in the headboard. So he's like, okay. So he goes back to the toolbox, and he's searching in there, and he comes back and he's like, what a surprise. We actually have the washers that we need. I was like, oh, look at that. So he goes and he puts the washers, and then he's like, well, I can't screw it in. I'm like, that's okay. I'm pretty sure the screw thing, like the electronic screwdriver thing, is plugged in. Let's use that. So he's like, okay. So then he gets it. Ultimately, we ended up getting the headboard mounted. But after we finished, he looks at me and he was like, that was the prime example of how different we are. And it was, and we cracked up about it, and we had a good old laugh, because it was. And it's really interesting to be able to have the awareness around it, to then be able to reflect on it and discuss it. So we basically learned from that simple exercise, a simple life activity, hanging a headboard to the wall. Basically, my process was to just go for it. I was like, screw it, let's just try it, let's see what happens. And then his was to analyze it and to figure out what needed to be done before he started. So we have very different personality types. Both are beautiful for a variety of different reasons. Just last week, John actually was naming a file type on his computer, and then he was like, oh, that's interesting, I saved this a month ago, this must just be an updated copy. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I named it the same exact file type a month later, so I saw that I had it was like, do you want to name this the second copy? So John's mind is so analyzer that he'll even receive a document 1 month later and go to categorize it the same exact way in his document filing system that he recognized that he already had the document saved. Where me, I'm probably like, they're all numbered like 1, 2, 5. Not the same way. I'm not an analyzer. So I just encourage you guys, if you're struggling to communicate with somebody in your life, maybe reflect on the fact that it may be you that's causing some of that strife or that friction between you because you are not aware of how they communicate or what personality type that they are. So maybe reflect on whether or not that person that you are wanting to communicate with better or, you know, connect with on a deeper level, maybe try and evaluate if they're if they are a supporter, an analyzer, a controller, or a analyzer, controller, supporter, or promoter. Yeah. See if they're one of those types, and if they're different than your type, now you can have a better idea of how to communicate with them. Hope that message was helpful to you guys. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's a gorgeous day here in San Diego. Check out this lovely green yard at our open house. This is sod, why it's still green. It's gorgeous. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.